So let's say you're on the playground and you say to one of your friends, "I think the city should do something about these bees. Someone's bound to get stung." Then one of your friends says, "If they got rid of bees here, they'll have to do it for all the schools and then all the parks, and the next thing you know, we'll have no more bees in the city. And bees are pollinators and we need bees." In other words, they put your argument on a slippery slope, then they push it down that hill, it picks up speed and crashes at the bottom as a horrible result. So what do you do when someone throws your argument on a slippery slope like that? There are two main ways you can rebut a slippery slope argument, but to be able to do that, let's first take a deeper look into what a slippery slope actually is. They present your argument, and then they say it will automatically lead to something, which will automatically lead to something else, which will eventually lead to a disastrous result. So the first way to rebut a slippery slope attack is to think about that end result. Is it really all that bad? Back in the Dark Ages, there were politicians who would scream and yell about the ills of gay marriage. They would say things like, "If we let gay people marry, the next thing you know, dogs and cats will marry each other." Is that really so bad? I mean, to me, the thought of dogs and cats marrying each other, that's just adorable. For some other examples, it may seem bad on the surface, but if you think about it, it's really not all that bad. For instance, if I said, "Well, if I have to give you a potato chip, then I have to give everyone in class a potato chip." You could refute that by simply saying, "Well, I doubt everyone will ask for one, but if they did, is it really so bad to be kind to your classmates?" In other words, that horrible result they're warning against may not be so horrible after all, and you can simply point that out. For results that actually are horrible, you can't just say that they're not so bad, because they are. So let's look at our bee example. In that case, we probably don't want to get rid of all the bees. They are pollinators after all. We kind of need bees. Everyone agrees on that. Well, almost everyone. Anyway, your opponent said your argument, getting rid of bees in your school, will lead to something, all schools having bees removed, which leads to something else, all parks having bees removed, which will eventually lead to a horrible result, no bees in the city. But in reality, there are many options at every step. Going back to the first step they take, they present something as the next step, when in reality, there may be many options that could occur, or none at all. In our bee example, they argue that if we get rid of bees at school, they'll have to get rid of them at all the schools. Well, in reality, they may not get rid of them at your school. You may just have indoor recess, or avoid the place where there are bees, or maybe they get rid of them at your school but no other school. Or maybe they hire a beekeeper and they somehow round up the bees. I'm not a beekeeper, don't ask me how that's done. The point is there are several options that can occur here, not just the one that they say will occur and they're saying it will definitely happen. That's not the case. This could happen, that could happen, that could happen, that could happen. If we got rid of bees at your school, that does not automatically trigger getting rid of bees at all schools. And even if it did, that doesn't mean we're going to get rid of them at the parks. So simply point out that this will lead to that, may not occur. In fact, it probably won't occur. There are many other options that can happen. "I think the city should do something about these bees. Someone's bound to get stung. If they got rid of bees here, they'll have to do it for all the schools and then all the parks, and the next thing you know, we'll have no more bees in the city. And bees are pollinators and we need bees." Getting rid of bees at our school doesn't necessarily mean they'll have to get rid of them at all schools. Maybe we're the only ones with a real problem. Or maybe they have a better way of getting rid of them. Maybe there's a bee repellent. Yes, bee repellents are a thing. So anyway, to combat a slippery slope, first, if the end result really isn't all that bad, point it out. It's not all that bad. Second, if the end result is that bad, well, point out how this may not actually lead to that. There are many other options. Or even better, ask them to point out how this leads to that. "If they got rid of bees here, they'll have to do it for all the schools and then all the parks, and the next thing you know, we'll have no more bees in the city. And bees are pollinators and we need bees." So how exactly will getting rid of bees on our school grounds lead to having to get rid of bees in all the parks? I hope this helps, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
This week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week? And is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?